is up, everyone? Long time no see. I was able to squeeze some time for filming, so I was like, man, I really have to get a video out. But I'm happy I'm out riding. It is overcast and kind of gloomy, but I've gotten used to it. It's been like that the past month out here in Florida, in Central Florida. So where have I been? First of all, let me address the elephant in the room, and it's not this rear view mirror that I'm wearing now. Basically, I was able to purchase a property out here in Central Florida, but it was a fixer-upper, so if you know about fixer-uppers, it is absolutely a full-time job. But I reached a level where things are going smoothly, everything's in place, and I can start filming again, getting out, but also, of course, the holidays going on. That's another hectic aspect. But another update is now I officially have a dedicated fixed gear, and I'll go over that bike now. But before I go over the bike, I want to address where I wound up moving, and it's still the Central Florida part, but it's in a very country, rural, middle of nowhere location. My wife and I found this property and we fell in love with it. But I will say there's no cycling infrastructure whatsoever. So there's no shoulders, hence why I opted to start wearing the cycling rear view mirror. But on top of that though, since it's so rural, there's not a lot of traffic. So I can pretty much ride in the middle of the lane for miles and there's really no one driving around. And then when a car does approach, they give me so much space. They're very respectful out here. So I really appreciate that. Oh, and another thing too is I've got a fixed gear because Florida was so flat where I was living in Melbourne, but this area is actually pretty hilly, but it's still manageable. Coming from Vegas with the extreme hills and from when I turned my Fuji into a fixed gear climbing those hills, it's a piece of cake out here. All right, so if you've been following me on Instagram, you've already seen pics ahead of time of this video, and this is the Pake Rum Runner frame set, and it's in size 55. I know I like a frame a little bit smaller than what I'm supposed to ride, but I love it. It fits perfectly, and it is full steel. None of that carbon fork nonsense, like I've said in the past. So I'm thankful that it was a full frame set that I got off of Facebook Marketplace. And as you can see, this frame actually has this glitter flake effect. And although it's kind of overcast, the sun's not really bouncing off of the glitter flakes, it still looks fantastic. So in order to get this frame, I needed to sell my Diamondback Master TG road bike and my H Plus Sun SL42 wheel set. But then I went with the H Plus Sun archetypes, and it was no surprise. They're fantastic wheels. Can't complain whatsoever. I went with the Origin 8 formula type hubs, and it feels great. I'm not one for wanting super high-end hubs. I think 99% of us riders aren't going to feel the difference, so that's why I went with the Origin 8 hubs. So I'm using some Ritchie flat bars. They're uncut, so they're super wide but super comfortable when I'm climbing and sprinting. People always wonder, can you get aero in flat bars? And I think so. I really do think you can. So since there's no water bottle mounts, I have to do a seat mount with a single cage. Riding with one water bottle is okay for now, but when the summer approaches, I'll probably just put an extra water bottle in my jersey. So when I was deciding on a crankset, I didn't want to spend too much money, and I found this budget crankset on eBay from Mojo Fixed Gear Equipment. Never really heard of them, and I think I stumbled on a website that they had, but I felt safer ordering them off of eBay. And when I got them, they fit right on perfectly fine. There's no flex to the crank arms. They've kept the chain straight, and the tension's pretty good too. I don't know, it feels great, and it keeps the chain tension pretty even, so I'm impressed with that. I will say though, the bottom bracket that it comes with, they include a bottom bracket with every crankset purchase. The left crank arm started to creak, and I knew that characteristic from one of my previous videos with the Octolink crank set, but I had a Nico, I don't know how to say it, better quality feeling bottom bracket in the same width. I put that on, creaking instantly went away. I knew what it was, and so far, again, it's been perfectly fine, and I'm satisfied with it, honestly. And as you can see, I mean it when I say I'm in the middle of nowhere, but I mean that in a good way, because I love it. Also, the gear ratio I'm running is a 48 tooth front chainring and a 17 tooth cog in the back. And I actually really like it. Apparently there's 17 skid patches as well because, as you can tell, I'm riding brakeless. But also with the crank set, the crank arms are 165 millimeter, and I really can't tell the difference. The only time I can tell a difference between 170 and 165 is when I'm at speed and I'm spinning pretty fast. These are definitely more comfortable. Well, it's the end of the road here, and that reminds me, I have still not found a gravel bike that fits my needs anywhere. Still struggling with that. I got the fixed gear because I could potentially put 32 to 34C tires that can go off-road a little bit, but still, I've heard from a ton of Florida gravel bike riders that 38C is kind of the minimum if you want a comfortable ride on a lot of the off-road trails, especially when it has that washboard effect. So again, I'll get to the gravel bike when I can. I don't know when that's gonna happen though. But I'll still attempt off-road trails when I get wider tires on this bike, as wide as I can fit in the frame. I have thrown drop bars on this setup, and they were compact drop bars. And I can't stand compact drop bars, but it's what I had. And I took them off after a few rides. The flat bar on a fixed gear, especially out in the street and not on a track or anything, it's just so much fun. It's so stable. You can really put the power down when you're climbing, sprinting, or when you're stopping. And especially since I ride brakeless, I have to back pedal to slow down. If I wanted to skid, which I'm not a huge fan of because, you know, tires are expensive, I can skid with these as well. And because of the 17 tooth cog in the back, it has 17 skid patches. And if you're ambidextrous, then double that. You know, even if I don't take this bike off-road, the roads are a little rougher out in this area, so I think I'm still gonna need fatter tires regardless. Yeah, again, like I mentioned earlier, there's just no traffic, so I can freely ride in the middle of the road. But thanks to Zach Gallardo for convincing me to get the cycling mirror. It actually is a game changer. Another factor with fixed gear bikes is the toe overlap, but it usually occurs at very low speed. And mine has a little bit, but there's kind of a technique that I have where I drop my heel pretty low. I can avoid the front wheel while I'm doing slow speed turns. Here's the biggest hill of the ride, and I'm going downhill first. And you know, for now, I have my SPD SL pedals on here and my shoes. And since I don't have fatter tires, I'm not really going off-road, I think it's totally fine, just for now though. But I definitely have my Specialized mountain bike shoes that I used to use for my state bicycle all-road. I'm telling you, there's nothing out here. So it's been a long time since I've really ridden brakeless fixed gear. I don't really consider the Fuji fixed gear that I built a few years back because it was such a short amount of time and I wanted to put in a group set on it. I can't believe I went so long without riding fixed gear. It's just so fun, and riding brakeless really alters your view on the line you take, compensating for maybe any stops or potential obstacles popping out. It's just such a blast, and it's so simplistic. That's what I love about it too. And if it rains out here, I don't have to spend hours cleaning the bike if I run through some mud. It's just a quick wipe down. But that being said, how simple it is, that's pretty much the bike. I mean, if you have any questions on anything that I might have not talked about, feel free to put in the comments below. So I am coming close to the end of my ride. I still have so much to explore out here, but given the circumstance of holidays and the fixer-upper, but once 2024 rolls around, it's on. I want to thank a lot of the subscribers that subscribed while I wasn't uploading anything, and also all you veterans who've been with me for a while. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate that, and still commenting on the occasional post I do, just telling you all a little update here and there. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that. And coming next year, there will be more content, so stick around.